Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. For those who don't know, my name is Dr. Abdullah Ashraf. I'm currently an intern doctor working in Jinnah Hospital, Lahore, which is affiliated with Allama Iqbal Medical College. The topmost mistakes I made during my clinical years or during wards. So let's jump straight in and let's get started. During the past 4 years of medical college, you kind of get used to staying late and not attending lectures. Believe me, I was that student. I'm not a big fan of lectures either. I believe in using videos and books and kind of studying on your own, but you have to go to the wards by any means necessary. So how do we kind of get around that problem? What I would do is, I understood that attending lectures and attending wards, it would take a toll on me, and I would be very kind of drowsy by the time of around 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the evening. So what I would do is, I know I would sleep late, but I would set my alarm for like 6 to 7 hours before my wards. So I would go to sleep at like 2. The clinical wards start at around 10. So I would wake up at 9:30, just brush my teeth, wash my face. I know it's not a glamorous kind of morning routine, but we have to do it. I would get up at 9:30, wear my OT kit or whatever suitable kind of ward attire that I had, and head off to the wards. Yes, I skipped lectures because I didn't feel like they added much value to my overall progress. If you're a fan of lectures and you have really good teachers and demonstrators who go out of their way to teach you and make you understand a topic, then by all means go for it. I'm not advocating against going to lectures, because in the long run it could actually pay off. You're getting your attendance, you're getting a free lecture, and you're just sitting there. So it's kind of a lot of passive learning is going on. Some people are very responsive to this. I am not. I understand more by active recall and active learning and actively practicing questions. So it wasn't for me, not my cup of tea. So I would wake up at 9:30, get ready, go to the wards. Now let's approach the second part of this video, which is kind of what to do in the wards that will make the difference and will set you apart during the end of the year and make you a student who is both clinically and academically very sound. Myself included, I learned how to take a proper history very late. A proper history in which the examiner goes, okay, this student knows how to take a history, this person has attended wards. And that's kind of what makes the difference at the end. Because a person who's attended the wards, when someone sees them from the outside, or an examiner who doesn't know you, he sees how you're talking with the patient, he sees that you have like a kind of targeted approach towards the patient history. They know immediately that you've taken wards throughout your past year. So learn to take a history. And there's no way, there's no kind of textbook or kind of PDFs that you can read online. Yes, you can read them and you feel like you will know history at that moment, but the only way to take a history is by going to the patient again and again and again. What I see a lot of med students doing is that they kind of take a lot of time on one history. You should just know the questions. Practice the questions enough so that no matter what kind of case comes to you, you're ready. You're ready to answer, or you have a kind of, in your head, you have like a bullet point kind of formation that you know, okay, diarrhea, onset, duration, progression, relieving factors, associative factors. And that just kind of, when you've kind of practiced it enough, you just have to tick the boxes in your head and you're good to go. And the only way to practice histories is by going to patients' bedsides, asking the questions. You don't have to grab a pen and paper and note down every single symptom that they ask you. Just kind of in your head, understand what they're trying to say and kind of come up with differentials on your own. So the number one step would be practice histories. Okay. So next step in your wards is, once you have taken a history, you should literally be fighting to present that case. I know a lot of us, myself included, have social anxiety or think that, oh, that person is going to make fun of me. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter in the end. It doesn't. I know it sounds very easy to say, but what will other people think of me? I myself have been subject to this, that I kind of take a lot of what other people say and I take it to heart. But if you want to learn how to take proper history and present that case, you're going to have to go out of your way, fight, literally be vicious and say that, no, I've taken the history, or I've done the examination, or I want to present that case. Once you start presenting cases, believe me, that will literally skyrocket your clinical skills. Vocalizing a history to yourself and saying it to an examiner under a certain kind of pressure is completely different. When you kind of say it in front of 10 to 20 people around who are listening to you, and the examiner is listening to you, or your teacher is listening to you, and that pressure is on you, then you will really know if you have perfected your history template, or you know how to present a case, when you can present that case in front of those people, when that confidence kind of kicks in. And that confidence, believe me, I didn't know how to present a case until like my 30th or like 25th kind of case that I presented. And by the 30th case, you kind of get so good at taking histories and presenting cases that it kind of becomes second nature to you. And you know, you don't even have to look at a certain type of sheet or the notes that you noted down. You spent so much time kind of compartmentalizing the patient's information that you know what you're going to say next. And the examiner is impressed. All the students in your ward are going to be like, okay, he knows his stuff. So that is kind of my second take-home message. When you are approaching the patient and you're asking their primary complaint, whatever they're saying, you're writing as their primary complaint. No. Do not do this. Do not put every single word that they say into the primary complaint. A good history is short and it kind of leads up to what you think it is. So, for example, we'll take gastroenteritis because it's a very common case. So the patient will say that they came in with vomiting, diarrhea, they had headaches, they were weak, they couldn't get up. And what a person who doesn't know how to take history or hasn't practiced history enough, they'll write all those symptoms down, all those kind of primary complaints into one line. That's not how you do it. You have to take one or at maximum 2 primary complaints, because taking those primary complaints kind of branch out. So those branches would be too much for any kind of history to handle. I'll explain in a moment. So they came in with all these set of symptoms and you wrote all of them down. Now, when you ask the associated symptoms, they're going to tell you more symptoms, and the symptoms are just going to keep on branching out, and it's going to become a very kind of long history that you can't manage. So what I do is, what was the reason that you decided to come to the hospital? Now, the reason that they give you, that is the primary complaint. If it was vomiting, go with vomiting. If it was diarrhea, go with diarrhea. If it was lethargy, go with lethargy. But that simple one question can summarize your history. What was the reason that you decided to visit the hospital now and not previously? That is your primary complaint. And I would kind of stick to one primary complaint, but if you can do it, I've never done it, but if you can handle 2 primary complaints, go for it. Once you've had that primary complaint noted down, you're going to follow a set number of kind of history questions. I think everyone knows that. It's onset, duration, progression, aggression, relieving factors, and associative factors. And when you get to associative factors, you're going to go, okay, so if the primary complaint was vomiting, the associated factor, the patient will say it was diarrhea. So now that goes in your associative factors. And now you go into diarrhea's history of what was it. Now, if you addressed both vomiting and diarrhea in the primary complaint, then when you get to the associative factors kind of part of history, the patient will branch out. He'll give you more symptoms and you'll have to handle those symptoms. So a case which is it's visibly gastroenteritis could turn into something like neurology. If it was diarrhea and then there's weakness and now the patient can't move his legs, you would think something like Guillain-Barré syndrome or an ascending polyneuropathy, something like that. So you have to be very careful of how you take a history. A patient gives you a lot of information, you're kind of the filter that will decide what the patient actually has. Okay, moving on to the next mistake. differential diagnosis. What I see a lot of med students doing is that they have like a 10-20 itemized list of possible diagnosis. That is so wrong, because then you have to rule all of them out. Maximum your differential diagnosis would be 3 or 4, and if you can handle it, 5. Why? Because those differential diagnoses, you have to rule out each and every one of them. Have you ruled out, or do you have the time to rule out those diagnoses in a clinical examination in which you have like, I think, 30 or 40 minutes to present a case? I don't think so. Keep it short, keep it sweet. If the patient presents with kind of pedal edema, your top differential should be heart failure, fluid overload, kidney injury, and you have to rule them out. Okay, so the more extensive you go, the more you're kind of going to suffer in the end. Less is more when it comes to taking history. So keep your presenting complaints like maximum 2, but the sweet spot would be kind of like 1, and differential diagnosis would be like 3 or 4. And you'll do fine perfectly, because you can rule out those 3 to 4 diagnoses. If the examiner goes ahead and kind of bullies you, tells you that, why didn't you think this? You can just kind of confidently, you have to be very confidently say that, I thought of this, but the patient's history also includes this and this and this and this, and it points more towards this than that. Okay, so you have to be confident in your diagnosis. At your level, they don't kind of need you to confirm diagnosis. They just want to know if you know how to take a history and you know how to rule out diseases. That's what they expect from you. They're not expecting you to be kind of reach consultancy level at the level of final year. That is not what they're expecting you to do. Okay guys, so we're approaching the end of this video, and I just wanted to thank you if you watched till now, and I really hope you do great in your clinical years. You can comment anything that you're confused about, and I will make sure that I get back to you as soon as possible. Don't forget to like, subscribe if you're new to my channel, and I wish you the very best for your clinical years. Bye.